Hey guys, it's Jen, Not a Real Farm. Beautiful, beautiful day in the greenhouse. Greenhouse is sitting in the 70s. So I've been out here turning the dirt, picking weeds, turning the dirt, getting ready to plant. Done it in this bed too, slowly but surely. So what we do is we actually just save a lot of our containers. This is a 4-liter sour cream container when we do our bulk shopping. And then what I like to do is I like to keep all the coffee grinds and the eggshells and the bones from the chicken. And you can see here it's nice and crumbly. You can see the eggshells, coffee grinds, eggshells, bone, everything that a plant needs for the most part. So what I'll be doing is I'll actually be adding this into the beds. It's been about 2 years now since I've sort of amended them. So it's about time that we add some more ingredients into the soil to help the plants along. But I have about 10 buckets of 23 pounds of compost that we've saved since last summer, going into just making sure that we have something to fertilize for this summer. So it's time to get to it. I'm just going to be sprinkling this in the beds for a little bit. I just wanted to give a big shout out to NoCo Seeds in Saskatchewan. Thanks, Craig Boychuk, for sending me these awesome Shinshu beans. And Shinshu beans are a runner bean, guys. And these vines, you need some space. They can get to be about 12 to 14 feet. And they usually have about 4 to 6 of these beans in one pod. And they are some of the biggest bean seeds I've ever seen in my life. Craig and I have discovered we have a love for unique seeds. And so I suspect that we'll probably be discussing more of what seeds we found out there. But thanks very much for sending these, Craig. Awesome. Can't wait to see what else NoCo Seeds brings out. Just wanted to give some love to a local business. As you can see, I'm doing many tasks today that need to be done before I even think about planting. But these are my electric daisy seeds. And this plant is super cool. It's self-seeding, so you don't have to keep replanting it every year. It's survived here in the greenhouse, no problem. The seeds are actually dry now, so you can see how easy these fall apart. These seeds will self-sow, so it can become unruly. So make sure that I know there were quite a few of you that did take the electric daisy seeds, or a toothache plant is a better known word for it. So just be careful because it likes to grow anywhere the seeds fall. So I just wanted to let you know that, but super easy to save the seed and a really cool, unique plant to have in your herb garden. This is hilarious. Just when you think that you've killed your comfrey, check this out. In a matter of days, my comfrey has started to grow back, and I've left this outside in minus 47 degree weather, Celsius. And in the last few days, as I was cleaning up this barrel thinking, okay, I'm going to pull out some of these, old flower debris that I've got in here, I realized that the comfrey is still alive. So I'll be putting this back outside when it warms up a little bit this summer and keeping my comfrey. So guys, comfrey can survive the harsh winter weather. In Canada, it can survive anywhere. All right, so we've begun finally setting up some tables here. So I've moved the horseradish out of the way, the pots out of the way. They'll come back down onto the floor once I'm ready to put my seedlings on here. And then what we've done is we've also put a secondary table up here because I don't know if you remember the video I did a little while back, but it was about the TerraFiber cubes that we're going to be using this year to start our seeds. So there is 98 holes in this TerraFiber. So we're going to be lining this up. And like I said, as soon as you plant your seed and you get your seedling, these just break right off and you can put them right into the soil. So we'll be using this year to start a lot of our seedlings. It doesn't mean I'm going to fully eliminate dirt to start seedlings because sometimes you need something a little bit deeper. But you can see here we've got quite a bit of these. And I only have about 5 packages of them, but I think they're going to work really great. 98 cubes, that's a lot of plants in one flat. So we'll be putting these in our black plant trays and getting to it probably within the next week or so. It's pretty good, guys. We're starting seeds and it's only the middle of February. Okay, so we have cleaned up at least one bed. So this is where Some of my eucalyptus was. This is where my toothache plant was. This is basil. I just want to see if this basil is going to come back because it's been covered. This is spearmint. We've got catnip. We've got sage, and I have a eucalyptus plant. And of course, if anybody is familiar with the Aliens franchise, I always have something unusual in the garden. One of my favorite franchises. I'm probably dating myself, though. And then, of course, the next bed we're going to move on to is now I've got a basil that's here, but I haven't picked the seeds. And you can see here, if I knock this around a little bit, there's actually seeds in there. So this is a lemon basil, and I'm going to be saving the seeds out of this. So we just finished picking thyme, and we have marjoram here that I've got to harvest and cut off. We can still use a lot of these leaves to cook with because they're nice and dry. So we'll be cleaning up the bed a little bit. I've already taken the time. So that is another thing on my list today, guys. It's this is all the stuff I've got to do even before I can think of planting. And finally, today, one of the last chores I have to get to is trimming the grape. So this will be year 2 for this grape. And as you can see, I'll move the camera in a little bit closer. It's got nodes on it, and it's pretty happy where it is. And these nodes go all the way up the vine. The problem with it is that if you're looking to get fruit from particular vines, if you're not just using it for an ornamental, you have to give it a winter pruning or an early spring pruning to make sure that when the sap starts flowing, you're going to be able to force the fruit and for it to give you a good sized fruit. What happens is the vine will get so far away from the bottom that what happens is this will start to send sap. Yes, I said sap, all the way through to a vine, and it's expending all this energy to try and push the sap through to try and make as much fruit as possible on vines that aren't going to be viable. So in order to force the fruit and to give you bigger fruit, what you want to do is you want to trim the vine pretty much about here, halfway up. And what's going to happen is now you're going to force new shoots to come out of here. And because they're closer to, if you want to call it the trunk, it will actually help the grapevine grow better and give you bigger fruit. So as much as I really hate to cut this because it looks beautiful, I want to see if I can force the fruit on this vine so that we might be able to get some fruit possibly on this vine by the end of the year. And some vines actually don't give you any fruit until the 3rd year, but this particular grape, if you really trim it and do what you got to do to it, it can start giving you fruit on the 2nd year. So that's what we're going to do. I know it looks harsh. It's beautiful. It looks harsh that I'm going to trim it like that, but we got to do what we got to do because we're going to try and produce as much food as possible. So we are going to cut the vine right about here. We're going to remove the rest of that dead vine that's up there. We got to take all the leaf debris down, get rid of this piece of the vine. And now, so my vine has a nice clean cut. I'm going to make it on an angle. You can see here that there's still green, so it's alive. It survived the minus 46 degree weather for a couple of days here, so it's good in this temperature, in this climate. So now all we're going to do is take the vine off we don't need, and we're going to reconfigure the vine up the trellis, and we're going to let now the vine concentrate on making fruit on these. And I'm probably going to get rid of this one because it's a little bit too low to the ground, but we're going to force the shoots to come out of here. And that's exactly what I want it to do. All right, so let's get rid of this bottom vine here because it's too close to the ground, and anything that's going to grow from there is just going to drag on the ground, and I don't want to, trying to keep this as disease-free as possible. So now what I've done is I've just cleaned up the vine, so now you can see, so we've got our 2 nodes here on each one. Actually, there's a 3rd one on this one. And in behind here, we've got 1 on the end. So 1, 2, 3. And above it, 1, 2, 3. And here is the end of the vine, right here. So we got to keep it clean. It's going to start basically sending out its leaves soon, and it's going to reattach itself to the trellis. This year we're going to try and force some fruit, and we'll see how it goes. But that is how I've learned to trim the grapes, just to get them started on the second year, and then we'll go from there. Grapes, contrary to some popular belief, do not like really rich soil. And if you look at some of the grape varieties out there, they actually grow well in soils that are very poor. So depending on what kind of grape you're growing, you might want to take a look and see what the soil conditions are for the grape, because sometimes if the soil is too rich, the grapes actually won't grow. So just a little tip if you're thinking about growing grapes. And one more last task that I have to get to today. If you take a look really, really close, you can see I still have, let me just bring it up here, flax pods. These are really dry, and they're actually ready for me to collect the seed. And I'll show you what that looks like. Growing flax, flax is really not picky, and it can grow pretty much in any conditions that you've got in your garden. There we go. See the flax seeds that come out of there? So what I have to do is I have to collect all these pods on the bushes that I have left and save the seed, because we're going to be replanting our flax again. If you've never tried fresh flax from your own garden, you should really give it a try. It's really good. So we still have quite a bit of things to do before we even put seedlings in the ground, but I'm in here for the day, guys. Just wanted to share my morning routine with you. Now that gardening season has begun once again, we will be sharing our daily videos as the growing season gets going. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday morning. See you soon.